Hey there, gang. I'm Danny J.
I'm Joel N.
I'm Trevor D.
I'm Joe Vasky.
And together we are...
Keep on Tolkien.
Yeah. We're here for episode 4 of Rings of Power React.
Season 2.
Season 2, of course. Let's get right into it, guys.
Yeah, this was an interesting episode. I think somebody, Trevor, was it you that pointed out that it felt like it was almost an entire episode full of fanfare?
That was me. I think
was that you?
We all kind of agreed on that.
Yeah, it was a whole episode of
let's just-
fanfare.
Let's start with initial reaction or initial. How do you feel? Did you hate it? What do you like? Well, I don't know. I didn't hate it, but I thought it was weak in some places. Which we'll obviously talk about.
I liked it. I might have liked it a little bit more than episode 3.
Same.
But it wasn't amazing.
I don't know if I can agree that I would like it better than 3.
Oof.
It's I don't know. Overall, I would say I was pretty disappointed with this one actually.
Damn, really?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one thing in here that I'll probably start yelling about in a little bit, but yeah,
We already got a little bit of it before we
Earlier.
started recording.
as soon as they got here.
Hold on to your underpants.
I kind of agree. I think it was my least favorite too, and I think the big reason is there's no dwarves.
That is true. No dwarves.
No dwarves. We
It
didn't
did
really get
suffer.
Sauron,
There was no Sauron.
and we'll get into it. But I really didn't like what they're doing with Isildur.
Same. Okay. All right. We've put out some bullet points of things we're going to talk about. So let's get right into
Well,
it.
Title of episode.
Oh,
4.
yeah. What's our title today?
Eldest.
Eldest?
Eldest. Okay. Cool. Well, let's get it right into it. We start with Galadriel and Elrond.
Yes, as they're preparing to leave Eregion. And Galadriel makes a sly comment about Elrond trusting her, implying that he doesn't. They have start off on a sassy note.
They're going to Eregion, right?
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they're at
they're
the.
They're about to leave to go to Eregion.
Well, they're like building the team, right?
Right, because right now they're in Lindon.
Yeah. Yeah. The building the team was pretty cool. She was like, they kind of had like a little power struggle there, and then she was like, I know some people that'll be good.
I thought they were going to have a bigger team. I thought they were going ready for war, and they leave
That's
with
kinda what I thought.
7 people or something like that.
Yeah, it's not very many, that's for sure. When they do finally take off, though, we do get a lot of cool cinematography, traveling sequences, which is reminiscent of Peter Jackson, right, in the tradition of...
I will say I think they filmed season 2 in the UK, and I feel like it doesn't look as good as like the New Zealand landscapes.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, yeah. I would probably... Well, that was very Minnesotan. But yes, I would probably agree with you. The New Zealand landscape is better.
I didn't even think about that. There was something that felt a little different about a lot of those landscaping shots.
It was like almost too wooded, kind of, I thought. Because I feel like I don't know. I don't know New Zealand's geography, I guess.
I think we're all kind of biased toward New Zealand just because we grew up in the era we grew up in. But, I mean, it is better, right? It looks better.
Was anyone else confused as to why they didn't take any horses? Why they decided to go on foot and
that
not
is
ride
kind of
horses?
strange. Yeah,
Why
you'd
not
think
ride horses?
They'd ride swiftly.
It's not like they didn't have horses at their disposal. They're going from Lindon with the High King. There's plenty of horses around.
Kind of weird.
They decided to hoof it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess it's more fun, I guess.
I hadn't actually thought about that, Joel.
Like I assumed that they would be setting off on horses racing to get there because there's a time crunch. They got to go.
Pretty
Find out
important. What happened to all these servants, right, that didn't make it, right?
Yeah, during this whole episode, as they're traveling, they talk about how time is of the essence and stuff like that.
They need to fucking... It bothers me so much that they can't just tell Celebrimbor that...
Yeah. I
can
feel
you
like
send... Do they have pigeons? They have eagles. Why... I don't know.
Send a messenger bird or something.
Also, I don't know, call me crazy. Wouldn't you have sent somebody down the coast if you were in Lindon? You could probably get there pretty quick that way, right?
To Eregion?
Yeah.
Is there a way to get to Eregion from the coast? It's pretty landlocked.
We're all looking
but it's
at the
closer,
map.
right? You could
Is
land somewhere. You could land somewhere in
I'm
southern.
literally looking behind me at the map. Yeah, Eregion is here. Oh, actually, no. You might be able to go up the river here.
Yeah. Londire, like the Numenorians used to, right?
Yeah, if you guys didn't notice, we had just put our map up recently.
Yeah,
and we are
check that
realizing it is nowhere near the size.
Yeah, we thought it was bigger, but it's
thought it was
cool.
bigger.
You know, we love it.
It already came in use.
Yeah.
Size doesn't matter.
So it's how you use it. That's what they
It's
say.
really all about the angle.
It's about
Yeah.
the angle.
So,
A friend of ours used to say that all the time. It's about the angle.
so to get back on topic,
Yeah, back to it.
all the messengers had horses. Yeah, why the fuck didn't they have horses?
That's a good fucking point.
Now, this is also where we get to a point where they're traveling through the region of Eriador, trying to get to Eregion, and they come to a bridge that is out. And some of you may recognize where they were because they showed us on the goddamn map.
That's
They
true.
were coming down, and they were going right around through here, across the Brandywine here. There's the San Ford. I think they were a little further north than that, just a hair, because it was more of like a crevice, like a gully that they were crossing. And they went south from there to end up in the Barrow Downs. However, the Barrow Downs are north of there, so I was a little confused about
Maybe-
the geography in this episode.
Maybe that map shot was misleading. I don't know.
Perhaps it was.
I don't really know.
Are there multiple Barrow Downs, like where they buried or the kings?
No,
or
we'll get into that.
well, because the
We're
place
gonna get into the
itself
Barrow Down history a
is-
little bit.
Yeah, it is the Barrow Downs.
No, the Barrow Downs are just north of the Great East Road.
Because we have
In
the Northern
Eriador.
Downs, we have the Southern Downs, and specifically the Barrow Downs are right here, just north of the Old Forest.
This
If
map
I was
shit-
looking at the map correctly in the episode, they were just south of the Old Forest down here, right on the river of the Brandywine. But anyway,
Alas.
we're getting sidetracked.
Yeah. We're too stoked on the map.
The map, the map.
The map. It's the new character.
Well, they
look-
get there right, and the bridge is out. They can't
Bridge is out.
cross.
Bridge is out.
And we have like a sort of, kind of a verbal confrontation.
Verbal conversation, and then this leads me to what I had next. Galadriel has visions caused by the ring, right?
Yeah,
At least we seem.
it's
She has a flashback of what will happen if they go a certain way, right? If they go to the Downs,
we think, yeah.
right? Right.
Right.
Yeah, it's giving her like premonitions, right?
Yes.
I like that she can have them just like in the middle of doing whatever too.
Yeah,
like
it's cool.
They can just come to her.
and
Can you imagine like taking a shit or something?
Elrond's kind of a dick about it.
He is, yeah.
Yeah.
Elrond hates the ring. That's what I wrote. Yeah, Elrond hates the ring still. I thought at the end of the episode of last episode, episode 2 maybe, I thought he kind of lightened up on it after. It seemed like he did, but then now he's kind of back
after he'd talked to Círdan
to
about
Círdan. That's what I kind of thought, but now he's kind of hardened back on it.
He's
so.
still, yeah.
I think he also just has some saltiness towards Galadriel because of everything that
The
happened.
Sauron shit?
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I don't know. Maybe he's kind of that's coming out too a little bit.
Could be. Yeah, he's
Very well could be.
Yeah.
Well, the next scene we get is with the stranger out east, and he's wandering around, and he ultimately finds Tom Bombadil's house.
Yeah, why
his,
not?
Well, his second house.
His
I
second
guess.
home. His
Out-
summer home.
His summer home.
His
out
desert
east.
home.
Yeah,
His-
he follows a goat to into his
Yeah.
little.
Did you catch what the name of the goat was?
What was it?
Earwain.
Or was that the
Why does that
lamb?
sound so familiar?
Or because it means
The lamb,
eldest.
yeah. It was the lamb.
the lamb.
Oh.
Sorry,
Lamb,
the
yeah.
lamb's name was Earwain, which means eldest, right? Earwain Ben Adar, eldest and fatherless, which is a name for Tom Bombadil. I don't know why you name your goat eldest.
Should
but
we do like a Tom Bombadil thoughts?
Yeah, now that we've got
Yeah.
Tom Bombadil.
Now we've gotten to Tom Bombadil. Okay, initial reaction to Tom Bombadil, obviously excited. I thought Tom Bombadil that we saw was kind of mid, lukewarm, as it were. Okay, that being said, the way they integrated him into the story they built made a lot of sense, and it was some decent writing. I'll say that.
Yeah, I don't know yet why Tom Bombadil really would be out east. I'm hoping they might go into some detail there, but in general,
Well, it said that he. The explanation they gave is that he those lands used to be green and he had to see it for himself. That's what the explanation they gave.
the
which
show
is-
writers gave.
Yeah, the show writers gave, which is weak, I'll admit. But I mean, if you're gonna have Tom Bombadil in the story, he's
Yeah.
fitting.
I'm
right?
just naturally nervous about having anyone trying to put Tom Bombadil into film, just because he's
Right.
so almost out of character for the rest of the story. If you
Right.
want to do him right, he's going to not fit in. So it's kind of like, which way do you go with it? Do you make him not true to his character so that he fits into the story? Or do you make this zany-ass character that's just going to not
Right.
fit at all and make the
And they made that
show feel funny?
that obvious choice.
And they
right?
made the obvious choice.
Right.
Yeah. They did the Peter
Um,
Jackson thing where they dumbed it down a little bit and they
right, which
made it a little more serious and put it in.
as somebody who's written things, okay, you know what I mean. Like, I guess I'm not gonna
I'm not
be too
terribly. Oh, one thing that I think I noticed. Okay, one thing that I think I noticed that I did like, when Tom Bombadil was speaking in one of the early scenes, I think when he was asking the stranger something like, "You didn't come out here to find old Tom." The way that he said it and the way that he announced it instantly took me back to Robert Inglis's audiobook.
mad. Yeah, 100%. I got that too. Yep.
And I have a suspicion that he may have
Drawn his inspiration.
from
Well,
there because there
he's
really
the-
isn't
he's-
much other any other interpretations to draw from.
Right? Who? Yeah,
At
who?
least
But
in
Robert
English.
Inglis. Robert Inglis has a character for every goddamn character in Lord of the Rings,
And
right?
I
So
love Robert Inglis's characters. So when I heard that, I was like, oh, okay. I kind of like this interpretation of Tom Bombadil. I mean, I know it's not 100% Tom Bombadil, but
right. And yeah, I think Tom Bombadil, the book character, is much more like has like a manic type energy that like the
very
show
manic. Yeah.
doesn't really have.
Very
so like,
ADHD.
yeah, and it would be like, it would be weird to have him in the show. I get it, like that you said, they made that choice, and I don't know if that was the right choice, but you chose to put him in the show, so I don't fucking know.
Right.
Yeah, I'll have to go with one of the first words you said, lukewarm.
we agreed on that term earlier.
Yeah, he doesn't really feel like what I feel like Tom Bombadil feels like. He kind of does feel like a different character to me.
Yeah,
But if you were making a character in the likeness of Tom Bombadil,
inspired by.
inspired by, I think he's okay.
I had hoped he'd be a little more round.
Yeah,
Yeah, and he came off like I get it, like we were talking about, a little too serious.
yeah.
He needs some kind of more wacky thing to him.
Right.
And so like when you first see him, you're like, everybody who knows who Tom Bombadil is thinking like, oh man, he's maybe going to be like singing a jolly tune, like being loud, just
Which he
doing all
does.
kinds
He
of
does
stuff.
sing jolly tunes pretty much all the time. Not very loudly. He more like hums
Right,
to
yeah.
himself.
Kind of
but-
hums
yeah.
to himself.
So even that was a little toned down, but
I would just say like what I'd say about Tom Bombadil is his energy level wasn't there for me.
sure.
Yeah,
He was a little bit low. I don't want to be like Trump. Low energy Bombadil.
energy bum.
Energy Bombadil. But yeah, like he had a little bit low energy.
I mean, maybe you don't know what kind of day he was having.
I
No,
suppose.
I think I might be the most. I think Tom Bombadil is my favorite part of the episode.
Yeah?
Honestly,
Yeah.
of this episode, yeah,
of this
probably.
episode, yeah.
You did.
Sure,
you
true.
did make one. We both came to the same conclusion about a comparison plot wise of his character.
Oh, yeah. It did. He did remind me a little bit of like Yoda
The Yoda
training.
thing.
Oh, the
trains
situation
an apprentice.
around. Yeah, when he's like, I was meant to find you here. Will you teach me magic and whatnot?
Yeah, like go to a remote location. Oldest, unimaginably old being teaches you about magic. Right.
His previous Padawan went to the dark side.
Right.
The
It's
dark wizard.
It's The Empire Strikes Back.
I think Rory Kinnear did a really good job. And I also think I really liked the writing in that scene. Like, I loved when he was talking about, like, the stars are newcomers.
That
and
was
I
cool.
was,
Yeah.
I did enjoy when he talks about Varda creating the stars. Yeah, that's fucking cool.
And then one day there's eyes
I was looking
everywhere,
down at you.
looking down at you, watching you.
The dialogue between him and the stranger is pretty dope.
It was
I'll
pretty
give
good.
it that.
Yeah.
A lot of the dialogue I noticed with Tom Bombadil is very true, like pulled straight out of the book.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of lines that the Lord of the Rings used for other characters.
So they're returned. They're repatriated, right?
Yeah.
To the
Again,
right
I feel like
character.
this is one of the fan services that they were trying to give you.
Right. I was saying, I wrote in my notes that I feel like, for better or worse, this episode gave us things that we were owed from that we didn't get from the original trilogy.
I kind of feel that.
Like we were owed a lot of these things, and they did some of them well, some of them not. Again, we're in the middle of talking
And
about that, and we will continue.
They even had like the Meteor Man getting eaten by the tree, and
By
then
the tree.
Bombadil.
Old Man Ironwood this time,
Old
not,
Man
not Old
Ironwood.
Man Willow.
Which we're
Yeah.
assuming is a Huorn, right?
right,
Right.
yes, yep.
Right.
An angry Huorn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and apparently they're all over the place, not just in the Old Forest.
Right.
They're in Ruin too.
Makes sense.
Also, like, what? I like Tom Bombadil as a character, but like if some guy was just singing and dancing around, and you're like,
This serious
you'd
shit
be
was
like,
going on.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, you'd be like,
Fucking psychopath, help me.
I'm a head out. Yeah, just yeah.
Something weird's going on with this guy.
Especially he's trying to get you to take a bath too. He's just
Yeah,
like,
go take a bath.
would you like to take a bath? I love how that's the first place. Like you meet this strange guy in the desert. Come take a bath in my house. Yeah,
Did you have a theory about his wife or why we didn't?
I did have a theory that was kind of funny. So there's a part in where where the stranger's taking a bath, and he hears Tom Bombadil and a female voice singing back and forth, right?
Yep.
And then when he confronts him about it, he's like, "Who's out there with you?" He's like, "Nobody. I didn't hear it. Only you." And so my theory is that Tom Bombadil's been alone for so long that Goldberry is a splinter of his mind. And Norman Bates is that shit. So he goes to like,
It's all
like,
him.
it's all him. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's a fun theory, and I kind of
Well-
hope it's true.
Well, and also, in the original Guardians of the Galaxy, the first run, there's a character called Starhawk that is a person and their wife merged together, and they experience all their forms of consciousness. So I thought it was like I wrote in here that it was I wrote a Starhawk reference in here. Yeah,
Nice.
Gotta go see Mother.
yeah. Goldberry, Bombadil, Starhawk. That's what I said. Yeah.
So the next scene we get is Nori and Poppy waking up somewhere in the desert, and they just happen to meet another hobbit named Merrimack, who ends up being a steward.
You didn't like that?
No, I don't know. I do not like.
It was very
where-
plot armor coinky-dink that they just like happened across another hobbit and went straight to their hobbit town.
this whole Hobbit storyline. I just nope.
Not liking it.
I'm not
jiving
liking
with
it. It was like it was kind of okay at first, but it seems like too much of a coincidence. And I don't like the hobbits coming from Rune. I don't know. That doesn't feel like it makes sense to me.
I'm right there with you as well. Yeah.
They did explain what you and Danny were arguing about last time.
Yeah, my theory was
The song.
incorrect. Apparently, my theory was too smart for them. No. Yeah, my theory about the Hildorian was obviously wrong, because who the fuck thinks about Hildorian like I do?
Apparently not.
Nobody. So they've been out in Ruin, apparently.
Yeah,
The
that's
Stewards.
that's just how they're going with it. They're just saying that hobbits originated from out east.
Yeah, at least the Stewards, right? Yeah, and I think I don't know. I didn't see anybody pissed off about the people having brown skin, but Stewards are described to have brown skin.
No, that is actually accurate. The
So-
stewards are depicted 100% accuracy,
Nip
even
that
if their
in the bud.
perhaps their environment is not correct, but they
Right.
are pictured correctly.
Yes, because you always get people that
Dark, not
ask you,
colored skin.
like, are there characters of color in Tolkien? And
Yeah.
of course there are, and good ones too. And the Stewards are some of them.
Mm-hmm. I'm
I
wondering
don't-
if we'll get any Falahides, which are supposed to be
The
slightly
third.
taller and
Yeah.
very pale, like fair
Kind
skin.
of elf-like. They
Very,
say.
yeah, kind of elf-like.
Yeah. So we'll see.
This whole thing with the Stewards is also the first time that I guess one of our like heroes learns of the Dark Wizard
Right.
because
Yeah.
they
Because the leader, whose name is Gund, she knows about the Dark Wizard.
yeah. As soon as because they question Nori and Poppy, and as soon as they do, they
Right.
mention like, oh, we're looking for a wizard, and this is the first time I've heard Nori call him a wizard.
Yeah, I
too.
was wondering where Nori got the association.
word wizard.
Yeah, that was kind of weird, but we can move past that. And then they're like, oh shit, you have dealings with the Dark Wizard. Well, we can't have that, and so they tie him up, and they tie up their new friend too.
Yeah. I want to go back to what you just said, because I never thought of how kind of dumb that is. The word wizard in Tolkien is just like I believe it's like the old Northwestern word for the 5 Istar, right? and only them? I don't think there are
That's-
other wizards. Right.
That's what I assumed.
Didn't
Right.
didn't
that
she
was my
say
understanding.
So
is
there's
that
5 total wizards.
wizard is only ever used in
For the
association
Astari.
with the 5 Astari.
Yeah.
Didn't she say that the only Ishtar we know, or did she say the only wizard we know is the Dark Wizard?
She said wizard, I thought.
Wizard.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
she didn't use the word Istar, I don't
No,
think.
they use the word wizard, which are supposed to be synonymous. And
Yeah.
they still may be. We don't quite know
it,
yet.
it might be one of the 5. Who knows? Yeah. It was just weird that Nori. I found that weird. Yeah, it is weird that she would use that word, especially if it was for the first time. I'm not certain if it was, but
I also really liked. I thought it was interesting that this Hobbit settlement was also sort of in a hidden valley, like Hobbit Rivendell, just out in the desert somewhere.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
As far as desert towns go, yeah,
And it was kind of funny to see Nori and Poppy for the first time witnessing halflings living in holes in the ground and thinking that
Right.
it was kind of strange.
Listen, yeah, because they don't really dwell anywhere, right? They just
Exactly,
Kinda,
yeah, they're nomads. Yeah, they live in like little huts and tents and things they carry on their back and carts.
I kind of liked how they were like, I don't know, they had like the Shire was their like idealized like
Right.
homeland.
Someday we'll find it.
Well, I would hope what they're doing with this storyline, like Joel asked, are we going to see the Falahides? So here's the thing for anybody who did not read concerning hobbits, you should. But what it says in there is that there's 3 original like breeds of hobbits, right? One of which is the Stewards, one of which is the Harfoots, and one of which is the Falahides, right? And the hobbits we know in the Third Age are kind of a blending of all of these breeds together into a new ethnicity, right? And some hobbits resemble Stewards, some resemble Falahides, some they all have the traits, right, of all the together. So what I hope this show does is show us that consolidation of hobbit culture, like we're getting hopefully holes from the Stewards, right? I don't know what we'd be getting from the Harfoots that hobbits do. Maybe growing things, or they know how to
hiding quickly,
and
being quiet
foraging
and
too. Right?
foraging.
So maybe that's what we're getting from them. What the Falahides do, maybe if we see them, they'll bring something to hobbit culture that'll eventually mush together into
some kind of knowledge or wisdom. Who knows?
knowledge or wisdom. You'd think, yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I mean, hobbits like farming and tilling land, right?
Yeah,
Could be
maybe,
agriculturalists,
maybe
yeah.
agriculture.
Yeah.
And we did see, I think, the start of a love story maybe between.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We had a lot of love
Poppy,
stuff.
Poppy and
I
the
was
new
gonna say-
guy, the new guy named Nobody, right?
Right. I was like, we may be seeing the mixing of these breeds a little sooner than we thought. Yeah. No, there seems to be a little Stuart Harfoot romance going on there.
Yeah, right
Which,
off the bat.
like I just said, stands to reason, right?
I prefer that to. We'll get to it, but I prefer that to the Isildur stuff.
Yeah.
This is also during this general scene and sequences where we are informed that the masked Easterlings are called the Gaudrim.
Gaudrum, yeah. I call them the afflicted because they seem to have some kind of disease or something. But we also learn, I don't know if it's in this scene, but later on that the Dark Wizard allegedly did that to them, right?
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because he says, if you want to know why we wear these masks, we're going to come back with the Dark Wizard and you're going to find out.
Yeah, that seemed weird because I thought the Dark Wizard was trying to help heal them. I don't know if
I
the
don't
Dark
know.
Wizard caused their
Yeah.
affliction,
I
whatever it
didn't
is.
personally get the vibe that
You didn't get that?
that the Dark Wizard had caused it. No.
Really? Why else would they say that?
To be menacing somehow.
Yeah, to be
Like, do you want to know why we wear these masks? Like, next time we'll come back with this really strong. Like, maybe they take off their
that's kinda
masks
dumb then,
and,
if that's what they meant.
maybe they just go berserk
Okay.
or something. Like,
Well, I totally misread that.
Well, we'll see. I'm
I
sure we'll
guess we'll
find
see.
out.
the show leaves a lot to open to interpretation.
It does. Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, we know. Yeah, the Grund, right? She doesn't like the Dark Wizard. We know that. The Gaudrim, they're the leader. That's what the afflicted people are called. We know that now.
Going back for a second,
Yeah.
I am excited to see Meteor Man and Dark Wizard fight.
yeah,
Hopefully.
was set up in this
we
episode.
get a very quick, short episode where Gaudrim approaches the Dark Wizard, and the Dark Wizard says that he will see to the Istar himself. So it sounds like we're gonna get a Wizard v Wizard battle.
Sounds like it, guys.
Love wizard battles.
That'll be fun. I'm interested to see what they'll do with that. But it quickly also then jumps back to Tom Bombadil stuff. We actually kind of talked about some of this already with like
we did a little of the
the
Starhawk
old
thing.
man Willow stuff and the a lot of the conversation that happens in the bath and the woman singing.
Repatriation of lines.
He introduces himself as the oldest and fatherless,
Yep.
and he repeats a lot of the same lines directly from the book that he speaks to the hobbits when he's explaining who he is.
Can I tell you one line I didn't like at all?
What's that?
What's that?
I really don't like this idea. A wizard's staff is like a name; it's yours to wield already. If you prove yourself worthy of it.
I think they're setting up once he gets the staff is when he's going to get his name too.
Like they get him at the same time.
I mean, that's fine, but he says it. He says it in such a way where it's like, oh, this is like a born trait that you have. It's your destiny to be able to pull out this staff from thin air. It's it's part of you.
This staff from the Mithrandir tree.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Tree, yeah.
I'm. It's just. It seems a little. I don't know.
I could see it being something so silly like that.
I feel like I have a little more doubt now as to whether Meteor Man is Gandalf or not.
True. It seems like they are setting it up a little bit more that we could be getting two blue wizards, like an evil one and a good one.
But I don't know.
Maybe.
I kind of hope it's not Gandalf, though, so I don't know if I don't know.
Projecting.
Yeah, I kind of am too. I'm hoping that they'll go with the blue wizards as well. I'm hoping it's not Gandalf, but it's still kind of up in the air, it seems, because he still seems pretty Gandalf-y.
Maybe they. I also hope it's a blue wizard, but like, maybe he just has Gandalf qualities.
It could be. I mean, he is an Istar. They are supposed to be pretty similar. They're all wizards.
Or maybe all wizards just start off like him.
It could be. Maybe
they become evil.
He's a blank slate, like zero build, like just
Tabula rasa, I believe is how you say that, right, in Latin, blank slate.
But I mean, this conversation about like the staff and things that you were mentioning, this comes about because the wizard asks Tom if Tom will teach him how to do magic, and Tom's kind of like, what's there to teach? And so he asks a more pointed question. He asks a more pointed question. He's like, okay, could you show me how to use a staff? And that's when he kind of goes on to be like, staff, or gives that weird staff line.
Explanation.
I thought it was kind of weird that he specifically asked Tom Bombadil to teach him to use a staff.
Yeah, like
when,
what makes you think Tom Bombadil knows how to use a staff?
Yeah, do you see staves staged
Maybe
Well, I mean,
does he
anywhere?
just assume that anyone who knows how to do magic knows how to use a staff? I don't know.
The staff is growing out of his tree, dude.
Right.
Of course he knows how to use it. Come on.
Yeah, in the scene is also when Bombadil informs the stranger that he's not the first Istar to come and befriend him. This is when he talks about how he previously Padawaned the Dark Wizard before he went to the dark side.
Went to the dark side. And now they're worried. He's specifically worried that Dark Wizard will be allying with Sauron.
Yeah, to try to spread influence.
They reveal that, and then they drop the bombshell. He kind of drops the bombshell on the stranger that's his mission
Yeah.
to stop not only Sauron, but also Mr. Rune Dark Wizard.
Yeah, apparently he's got to confront them both, which all of a sudden Bombadil's being very prophetic and seeming
Right.
like he knows a lot.
It's kind of weird for Bombadil, isn't it?
When at first he seemed very aloof, and now all of a sudden he's just
Now
casually
he's very-
dropping.
Yeah, I don't know. He's very focused now. He's not aloof right now.
It does make more sense why those like acolytes were searching for the Meteor Man when they thought that he was Sauron, because the Dark Wizard was like, "Oh,
The
this
Dark
is my
Wizard
guy."
brings
Now
him
we're
here,
gonna.
yeah.
No,
so-
that you're right. That does make sense.
makes
I never
sense.
connected that. That
Never
does
yet.
make a lot more sense now. The
So, yeah.
motivation is there, and it
So
makes
that-
sense.
Yeah.
So
Well-
after this, we jump back to the Barrow Down.
This is
Uh-oh.
okay. This is the part. This
Uh-oh.
is the part where I'm gonna yell.
Prepare yourselves. Hold on to your
Hey,
pants.
before-
you guys
before
talk
you-
about it first.
Go
ahead.
Before you get angry, all right? Some cool
Yeah.
things.
Yeah, you guys go first.
Sure.
Cool
yeah,
things.
yeah.
I thought because we this is where the group encounters the undead. I think it's the first time we see undead in the show.
Barrow
right?
Yeah.
White.
Specifically, they call them Barrow Whites, which, I mean, I don't know. It's not right.
Again,
right?
I'm
But
confused as how they're calling them the Barrow Downs because I don't think they're in the Barrow Downs. I think they're south of there. If I'm understanding
If
the
they're-
map
their
they
map
showed
shot, yeah.
us. They showed us the map. I mean, why are you trying to
Well,
confuse me?
this is after they left the bridge, right?
right.
What direction did they say they were gonna
South.
go?
South.
And they were
right.
already south of the Barrow Downs,
Yeah.
so that's what Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking about north, south, and shit. But
Well, so the undead,
Geography's fucked.
the undead were pretty cool. I thought
They were cool.
the effects were good.
I appreciate that they were very knowledgeable in their history, in that the Barrow Downs have been there a long time. Men have been buried there for like centuries upon generations upon ages. Like,
True.
so like they had all the whites were very like unique and old looking. They looked really cool.
They looked ancient.
But I just take issue with the fact that they're not supposed to be haunted yet. They don't actually get haunted until the Third Age. But I mean, like, their depictions of like the dead men in the graves, I suppose, was accurate.
I was also a little confused by, like, they fought them normally, and then all of a sudden Elrond's like, oh, wait, we just use their swords, and then they die for real.
Yeah.
Well, if he knows that much about the goddamn Barrow Whites, why doesn't he not know where they are? You know what I mean? Where they fucking live? Like, you'd think you'd know
There
that.
they are.
The scene
Like,
was
if I
cool,
told you about a
but
platypus, and I knew a whole shitload about a platypus, then you go, where does it live? And I go, fuck if I know. You know what? Come on. Like,
Yeah, I think I thought that was a really cool kind of like lore that they threw in there. I don't think that's like directly out of canon that using their own weapons does it, but I think they pulled that from the scene where Frodo uses one of the swords to cut the hand that's coming around the corner to get Sam, Pippin, and Merry when they're in the Barrow Downs. I imagine that's probably where that came from.
Could be.
But
I'm pretty sure it's invented, that particular lore bit.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I think they expanded,
They expanded
on
on
that concept
that little
and invented
tiny
that
bit,
lore
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is, I mean, I guess it's clever. Like, how
I
else
thought
you
it
gonna
was
kill
clever.
an
It
undead?
was fun.
One thing I did not like about the undead, though, was the floating chains.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Ghost Rider
the
chains?
chains were interesting.
We said the Ghost
that was
Rider
a little
chains.
too
Yeah,
much,
the Ghost
maybe.
Rider chains. Yeah,
it
that
was kind of Ghost Rider-y, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
a
Yeah.
little bit.
considering how effing slow they were moving around, like, and they have these floating chains. Like, wouldn't you think those could like go fast?
I kind of
And-
liked when the chains were like going along the ground and like grabbing people and pulling them, but yeah, like the flowing through the air stuff was weird.
right. And like, if they're doing floating chains, where's all their floating swords?
Bro,
Okay.
you know what they should have did? They should have did a Hellraiser homage to have the chains rip somebody's face off, and then he just
Jesus
goes, "Jesus wept."
It,
Sorry, I
will
love
say,
Hellraiser. I love Hellraiser. I'm sorry.
I think the first episode was the most violent.
So
and I feel like
far.
it hasn't
Yeah.
reached that level
No.
again since.
No.
So hopefully we get some more gore.
They did find the dead messengers sent to warn Celebrimbor,
Who are-
so that
yeah.
was one development in the scene.
Yeah.
Oh, we also get a genuine proper usage of the White song, which in
liked
the
that.
trilogy they kind of
They get
hashed
part
it into
of it to
Gollum.
Gollum. Yeah.
Yeah, but in this we actually get the true, pretty close to the true Colby hand and heart and bone, Colby sleep under stone.
Right. Yeah. I love
Now,
that. I
It was
love
kinda
that.
spooky. I like
Yeah,
that.
that was very
Spooky,
creepy when they
spooky.
first go in and you kind of hear the whispering and
Yeah. Scared my stepson. He was not a fan of that.
yeah, good proper spooky. That's good.
Okay, yeah, so they were proper spooky. I'll give you that. Things about the scene, all right? Proper spooky. I like the way they kind of like got damaged and then like came back together. That was pretty
fun. That was
pretty
fun.
cool. Very horror shit, which I appreciate, obviously. If you got my Hellraiser reference, right? Yeah.
We have such
we
sights
love,
to show
We
you.
have such sights to show you. Yeah, we should do a bonus episode about Hellraiser after this. No, okay. So here's the thing, guys. This Barrow Downs shit for me is the last straw. The straw that broke the camel's back. I'm taking the writers of this show, I'm taking their Dunedain head card, and I'm tearing it up.
We did at one time call them Dunedain heads.
We did?
didn't we?
I regret it, and it is now got. Yeah, when they put, I think when I called them Dunedain heads is when they put Drambor, like the axe of Tuor, in the shot, and I was like, cool, Dunedain heads. But
Wait,
anyway,
so what? Yeah, so what specifically made you?
we get nothing. We see nothing of the kind of influence in Middle Earth that the Numenorians should have at this point.
True.
So
They should have hella influence
So the
right
fact
now, as
that,
much as they ever would.
right. So the fact that we're totally deleting the fact that the Numenorians colonize Tir and Gorthad, which is the Barrow Downs, right? So so the reason the Numenorians started burying their kings there is because in the first stage, it's actually one of the most ancient artifacts in Arda, right? The Barrow Downs. It's in the first stage, the men of the Edain buried their dead there. And it's been an ancient site ever since. The Numenorians consider it sacred because it's close to their ancestors, right? Which is why they buried their kings there. And it thrived as a huge part of a Numenorian kingdom called Arnor for a very long time, right? Or at least a decently long time. And what they just did is shit all over that and just deleted it from the show, essentially. Because if you have what happens in the 1900s of the Third Age happen in the Second Age at God knows what fucking year, because you guys don't even know what the fucking timeline is all about. The fact that you just are they even going to have Numenorian colonization of Middle Earth? Are we even going to have them bail them out in the War of Elves and Sauron? Are we having any of that at all?
It looks like if it hasn't happened yet, it looks like they're just glazing.
It's just not going to happen.
It looks like they're just glazing past it.
That's what I'm
right
saying.
Now there should be, like, this is the most spread out Numenor has ever had, the most influence that Numenor has ever had in Middle Earth right now. They're supposed to be essentially starting
At
to...
the rise of Pharazôn? Yeah, we're about
supposed to be enslaving people in, like...
Yeah,
it's supposed to be huge.
You really want to see
There's
colonization?
Because the Numenorians came as peaceful colonizers to begin with.
Oh, peaceful colonizers.
No, because they saw... I'm serious.
You know what you sound like right now?
This isn't our world, you guys, okay?
They were just trying
our world.
to educate the world, okay?
When they met the middlemen of Middle Earth, they saw them as kin, as before in ancient times, right? So they saw this sacred bond, which is why, like, Gondor is so close with Rohan, right? Case in point. So they would never. So originally, when they came, they would have these huge number. Pelagir is one that we're kind of seeing, right?
It's almost like it's
Lon Dyer was another one. The Barrow Downs. These are all Numenorian places that should be thriving, huge places.
Sounds like you're doing some Numenorian whitewashing to me.
Whatever. I'm doing the lore, which they are not doing, because I'm a Dunedain head and they are not. And I tore up your card. You suck. I can't believe you went and did this. I don't know. Like, it's just some of you, this might not seem like that big of a deal, but it is just death by 1,000 cuts. I am tired of it. You guys are doing the exact same thing that Peter Jackson did. Shame on you. I'm done. Sorry.
Well,
that's it.
and the next scene will highlights also, I think, other Numenorian issues that are there.
Yeah, the next scene we get is with Arondir, Isildur, and a band of men who look for Theo in the woods at night.
Right.
Also big sigh for this one, too.
Yeah, so this is when the
this.
people of Pelagir want to hunt down the wild men because they think the wild men, like, fucked with their shit and killed a bunch of people.
So, I have a question for you, Joel. I know you stan the Druidain as much as I do.
Mm-hmm.
Are they supposed to be the Druidain, or are they just using the word wild men to be stupid because Druidain literally means wild man in Elvish?
I don't think they actually mean them to be the Druidain.
Why would you use that word if you know that there's another people in the lore called the wild man? It's so stupid.
I don't know.
I hate it. And also, why are there no Druidain in this story?
Maybe there will be at some point. It'd be cool if there were.
They're
get some definitely
Druidain
around at this time and have been for forever.
Forever.
This is also when Arondir works out that Estrid is one of these evil wildmen that were branded in Adar's service.
Sharon, how could you?
Oh my goodness.
See, I thought this was Sharon at first. Isildur's fabled wife that has no name that we call Sharon. But no, I don't know if it is now.
It could be. I think they're setting it up to be.
I think so, too.
You think that
She's Sharon?
That her wild man boyfriend is gonna live?
I
don't think so.
I genuinely thought that was made up on her part. Like I
I
thought
did
that was
too,
part of her
yeah.
story.
Yeah.
So that was kind of funny when it turned out to be real.
Ooh, yeah. No, that story is just real lame. The Isildur, like, will they, won't they kind of love story with the, it turns out to be wild man, but not Druidain. I don't. Yeah.
It seems like they're using the term wildmen to refer to the
Adar's folk?
to
Adar's
refer
folk,
to Adar's folk. Exactly. Yeah.
Cool.
The Southlands men that swear to Adar. I think
Those who are branded.
those who are branded. Yeah.
Sick.
So
Makes total sense within the lore.
So they basically chain up Estrid and they have her lead them to go wherever their camp is. And on the way, they get attacked by a mud monster.
A mud monster. And
It was kind of cool.
I thought it was pretty
It was
fucking cool.
I
Yeah.
mean, Arendir references it as being one of the nameless things from the
Yep.
deep, which I thought was inappropriate because this is nowhere near the deep
Yep.
Okay,
places
I
of
was
the world. It's
literally
just a mud thing.
when he said that, I was like, "Are you just going to use that to justify any weird creature that you create?"
Right, because we're nowhere near the deep places of the world.
No, you're in a swamp. Which also, by the way, a movie that I just watched with all the kids, Joe Vasky brought up. The Never-Ending Story, right? It was the Swamp of Sadness, right? Isn't that what it's called? That's what it looked like a lot to me when he
Yeah.
started sinking. Have you seen The Never-Ending Story, Trevor? Dude, we should...
It only would have been sadder if Isildur's horse was in there with him.
Yeah, I thought it was fucked up how... Because I always knew the meme that the horse...
The
spoiler
horse-
alert, the horse dies in the muck.
God.
But I didn't know it was because the horse just gives up on living.
Well, because it's a swamp of sadness. You get so sad that you just want to
That's
lay down and
awful.
die.
That's
It
such
was
a statement
really
about
dark
mental
for-
health. Holy shit.
really dark for a children's movie.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
No,
We should-
I don't have anything on the lore. I just thought the creature design was cool.
No, it looked.
Creature
It was
design
cool, and
cool.
nasty.
It was
I liked
creepy.
the-
It was
yeah.
fun to see Arendir cut his fucking way out of it.
That's
It was fun to
what-
watch them go down into the mud. That was
That was
fun.
cool too. Yeah,
One
no,
of-
I mean it was a cool sequence, but I just love how they used some. They Tolkieneered their way out of it in a really, I guess, basic way. They just they took. I was chatting with ChatGPT at one point, and I told him to make up a lost chapter of Lord of the Rings. We did this for Patreon, by the way, and it basically made up a creature like this, and I asked it. Was that a reference to the nameless creatures that Gandalf mentions in Moria?
Mhm.
And he said, yes, of course. So even an AI, ChatGPT, would draw from that. Maybe this is how they rate the show,
Using AI,
using ChatGPT.
they just ask ChatGPT to give them ideas.
Maybe.
This whatever it was, snake leech thing. I mean that's kind of what I
Sure.
end up thinking what it was. I did not like it the first time I saw it because it reminded me too much of the Watcher in the water, but in mud.
Yeah.
Mm.
It kind of looked like a tapeworm, no?
Didn't
Didn't it have a bunch of little
Kinda,
legs? Didn't it have a bunch of
I was
little
getting a
leggies too?
centipede
Like-
vibe,
Yeah, I was getting
kinda.
centipede vibes.
Like a mud
Yeah.
centipede.
Yeah, I was
Mud
getting
centipede.
giant
well,
mud centipede.
it didn't have any legs though, from what we could
I
see.
thought it had
I
little
don't think it
appendages
did
or
it.
something.
I remember
it
little
looked like a snake
legs
body.
covered in mud. I don't
Little
know.
vestigial legs covered in mud.
Argue in the comments.
Yeah, argue in the comments. Smash that like button.
So back in the wilderness of Eriador, Elrond and Galadriel have a conversation after getting to a safe place from the Barrow Downs. They have a bit of a heart-to-heart, and Elrond says something like, he says that, quote, "My father foresaw that one day Celebrimbor's life would be in my hands." I thought it was very interesting that he referenced something that Eärendil would have said. I think this is a complete unique fabrication to the show, but...
Didn't Eärendil leave Elrond when he was like 5?
That's one thing I was thinking about too.
Yeah.
What, did he write a bunch of prophecies down for him?
I mean,
before he
maybe
died?
somebody else told him about it.
Maybe he visited him sometime. He just flew the ship down. Was like, "Hey, bud, I
Can
know
you
I missed you. I know I missed your past 325 birthdays, but
I
Besides-
saw every soccer game. It was from up here, but I saw everyone.
everyone.
I was
man.
watching.
I was
I was
sending
watching.
birthday cards. I don't know why you didn't
they
get
never,
them.
They never got there. Yeah, I always got return to sender on them.
But this is where Galadriel also gets more brief glimpses of even more bad things to come in the future. So we know there's going to be a bunch of other bad shit that happens. Fun. I think this is when we jump back to Peligir with Erendir and Isildur and Estrid, when they come across an Ent wife.
An Ent wife.
That's
and
pretty
an Ent.
crazy.
An Ent and an Ent wife at night. There's just 2 of them, if I'm making it out correctly. Like there wasn't a bunch of them. It was
I
just
only
the 2.
saw 2.
I always saw 2.
Because I know,
From what I remember.
at the end of the last episode, the men were like, "It's an ambush," but I think it was just the 2 of them.
Yeah, I only saw 2.
I really hope that we see more Ents, or at least more of these particular 2.
Well,
I
if there's-
enjoyed the Entage.
It felt too much to me like they were just like throwing it in there because they needed to include Ents somehow.
Sure.
It didn't feel very much like it had much substance to me.
So technically, Ents do come into this story at one point, Ent wives especially.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So during when the last alliance is marching south at the end of this age, right, which will inevitably be the series finale, hopefully, if we're not
Yep.
super stupid. But at one point, the after the Alliance meets up all in Eriador, they march south to a place which is now, where is it? To the Brownlands, right here, right? The Brownlands.
Yep.
So the
right there.
Brownlands are a place that used to be a lush garden, curated by the Entwives, actually, right? But Sauron devastates it and burns it down to intimidate the marching of the Last Alliance, right? So they do come into this story, and they are all killed in this story.
Yeah, so I mean, we kind of learned in the previews we were going to get some Entwives. I was excited to see it.
I just hope we see more. It's not enough, like, for me.
We're going to see them all slaughtered, hopefully. I mean, I don't want to see that. But if they
fingers
follow the
crossed.
lore, all these women will be burned alive. No, that's what happens. But
I think it was a little fan servicey, but I kind of enjoyed it. I couldn't help myself, but kind of enjoy it just because I
Yeah.
think I like the Ents, and it was cool to finally see an Ent wife.
It was a very brief scene that didn't have any
I
impact
love-
on the story. And I was like, oh, we happened upon some Ents, and
Harmless.
then they're gone, and we saw some Ents. And
I
we're
love
like,
their
okay.
righteous anger too at like the forest getting destroyed. And
Yeah,
that's
from-
always
I
feels.
love how the Entwife
Yeah.
doesn't distinguish between elves and
Or-
they're just as bad
Because
as
it
the
was
rest.
Adar's army that had recently come through with all the orcs that had ravished the forest that she was upset about.
She was upset about.
But like Ents, is from what I remember, they don't just like kill people or get angry at them because they cut down some trees. Like they obviously know that other folks in Middle Earth are going to use wood to build their
Well, no,
dwellings
they're
and
actually actually they are there to protect the trees from being cut down.
stuff. But period, like they just
Yes.
Well, I don't know if I ever got that
Yes.
because like Yavanna, when they have the conversation in the Silmarillion when the Ents are created, he says, Aule says to Yavanna, he says,
But they will have need of wood.
but they will have need of wood and they will do this, and then she kind of says, yes, I know that, but to essentially to make it a little bit fairer of a fight, I'm going to send the Ents. So I think I don't know if the Ents see it that way, but Yavanna definitely did.
I
She
don't
had
think
the
they do.
nuanced. So I don't know if the Ents see it that way or not.
I mean, the lady Ent straight up asks Arendir, "Have
ever
you
cut down
ever set axe to wood?"
to living wood,
And
yeah.
even Arendir the elf stops and is like, "Well, yes,
Well, 'cause-
regrettably," and then she just loses it because I mean everybody kind of does, but
Well-
the Ents are not for that. They're there to preserve as much as they can.
Right, and that was a cool callback to that scene that we thought was really cool in season 1 with Arendir cutting down the tree. Remember?
Yeah, that's right.
And he
yeah.
wept as he did it
He
because
did.
it was super sad for him, right?
Mhm.
Because he has respect for nature, and yeah, it's sad.
While they're building the waterways for the Mordor button, the most
Right.
convoluted thing in the whole.
The Mordor
goddamn-
button,
Well, that's not
love
even.
it. Season
we're on,
1,
we're
you
on
rule.
season 2 now. Let's not.
Is that what they were doing? Those were the waterways?
Yes, that's what they were doing. That's what all of that was. That was them mining the waterways for the Mordor button that apparently has existed for centuries already in an elvish tower. We're
Huh.
not going to get into it.
See, because I thought they were just like, oh, we need to travel, so we'll dig holes to
No.
stay underground. No.
No.
God, I'm even more upset about it now. Thank you for that revelation.
Dumb.
Can I say
Thanks, season
a couple Numenorian things quick?
Yeah.
I think
Please.
Isildur should be doing more badass things with Erendir, like fighting and stuff like that instead of the love interest.
Mm.
And then I wish we could see more Elendil. We haven't
Yeah,
seen him
we haven't
at
seen
all.
Elendil.
No, hardly at all
yeah.
this season. We got like a little tiny bit of him during that one episode where we got Numenor stuff.
Because I really liked him in season 1, and I
Mhm.
feel like we've gotten nothing
Yeah.
out of him.
I think they should just sink Numenor already.
Please, please
I'm
do.
Serious. I'm serious. Please do, because you fucked it up enough. You know what I mean? Like you didn't do what you should have with the timeline and everything else, Dunedain. So just sink it and get to the point where Elendil comes over.
Can they
And we
do-
can have more Elendil, Isildur, and fucking Anarion, hopefully.
Yeah, when is Anarion gonna come back?
this
They
shit.
even name dropped him in season 1.
So like, yeah, just get to the part where the good Numenorians are setting up Arnor and Gondor. Like, just get to that or something. I'm so tired of you
You're
doing
like
this.
just sink it into the sea.
Just sink it, man. You didn't do it right. Cut your losses. Fuck it. Sink it. I don't know.
it.
I'm mad about this, you guys.
Sink it. So also before we move too far from the Ent and Entwife, I just
Right.
I forgot to mention that they had names. I didn't even know that, except I happened to pause the scene to take some notes, and Mallory pointed out that on the scene they show the actors' names with the characters' names.
That's true. Yeah.
So the characters' names were Winterbloom and Snaggleroot.
Yep. Yeah, I had the subs on. And
Oh.
it said, yeah.
That's cool. I didn't catch that.
I liked those names. I
Yeah,
thought
he
they
actually
were-
says
I thought they were good.
Winterbloom. He out loud.
Oh, does he?
At one point, yeah, he says, don't ask her about it because she's too pissed. Or Winterbloom. He said her name.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I must have missed
You know the
that.
line I'm talking about, Joe? You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, he did say her name at one point. I didn't hear his name, though. I did hear the Antwife's name, though.
So the last scene we get in the show is back near Eregion when Galadriel and Elrond and friends have found Adar's army of orcs headed for Eregion.
Right. Which
She does this whole selfless act thing where she tries to like.
Is it that selfless though?
well, that's
Well,
what
I
Elrond
really
pointed
love
out.
what Elrond points out because she's like, okay, somebody needs to warn them. You guys go. I'm going to stay here and sacrifice myself. And she actually gives Elrond her ring, which I thought was really weird that she would actually choose to take it off and give it to him.
Mm-hmm.
But then she goes and confronts an entire army head on.
Yeah.
And as they're running off, one of the random elf extras, one of the soldiers, was like, "She sacrificed herself to save us."
Camnir, I think his name is.
Camnir.
Camnir, Camnir, I think.
Camnir.
I always keep the subs on. You should always keep the subs on because it says their name
Yeah.
even. It kind of ruins things sometimes. If you hear
It
them
also
like
tips
off
you off
screen or
when
whatever.
they're speaking Elvish and other languages.
It does,
and
yeah.
things.
It'll tell you if they're speaking Sindarin or Quenya or fuck Adunak. They never speak that in this show. Do they? I don't
Actually, the only time
What?
the only time anybody that I've caught so far that anyone's spoken Adunaic is the masked Easterling spoke Adunaic.
Oh, right. Right. As he should. As he should.
Not the Numenorian.
Not a Numenorian, of course.
There's got to be something in the Numenorian content where they use it.
Maybe they did in season 1, but I
Maybe-
forgot.
I don't know.
I don't know. The
But,
Numenorian stuff has been such a letdown for me.
I don't think you finished though what Elrond says.
Oh no, you're right. No, I didn't. Yeah, so the extra was like, "Oh, she sacrificed herself to save us," and Elrond's like, "No, she sacrificed herself to save the ring."
Are
And I
you?
was like,
She was also kind of like rubbing it down a little, like sort of
Was
like how
she?
Frodo
Sorta like
did.
my precious.
Did you notice that?
Yeah.
I feel like they're kind of playing it like
They're playing
she's
it up
getting
like that.
attached to it, kind of.
It's.
That's not accurate?
I
No,
don't think
I wouldn't
so.
say it's accurate. No, like she calls it. Galadriel does call it a burden. At one point,
She does.
She does use the word burden to describe Nenya. I think at least in the film she did. I don't know.
She-
I don't remember if it's in the
You're
book
right.
or not.
Yeah, I'm not. I'd have to double check.
She says this is Nenya,
My burden to
my
bear.
burden to bear. Right. So she does admit that it's like a burden, but I don't think she meant it in the same way as Frodo's. Like it's a burden of evil. Like I'm carrying it. She's like it's a burden, like a great responsibility. That's how I always took it.
So all of the great rings, the ones for men, the ones for dwarves, and the one, all did do that. They did have that kind of
even the
aspect to it.
elven rings.
No, but not the elven ring.
Oh,
That's what I'm
okay. I
saying.
was gonna
Not the
say.
elven rings, but like the
'Cause Celebrimbor-
dwarvish
'cause
ones
his
and
taint
the
was this-
Manish ones, and the Manish ones, and then the one. They all had that sort of quality where you'd get attached to it, and it'd sort of corrupt you.
Right.
But not the elvish ones. That's what made them unique.
Right. Because Sauron's taint was never upon them.
Sauron never teabagged those rings.
That's what we'll say. Every episode, Sauron's taint was not upon them. Okay.
Somebody tell this to Elrond, please.
Yeah.
exactly.
Sauron's taint never touched these. Okay.
I mean, Círdan tried to tell him in a different verbiage, but
Yeah. He didn't use the word taint.
didn't
The,
use the word taint.
The fight scene was kind of badass, though.
That I do gotta say.
Are you talking about the one against
Galadriel?
the orcs?
With
The
Galadriel,
Galadriel and the
yeah.
orcs. That was pretty.
It
That was
was-
pretty badass.
It was sick. It was sick. Yeah. I was telling.
was sick.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a sucker for a good fight scene, right? Because like I love Tolkien and shit, but at the end of the day, I've been watching action movies since way before I've been reading Tolkien, and I love a good fucking action sequence, and I thought it was pretty good. It was cool fighting. The fire stuff was really fun.
The fire stuff was pretty. I
those
did
people
like
did
that.
full burns, which in the stunt world is pretty cool, right? Especially that they do that.
Hell
So, yeah. Yeah. No, I really like the fight scene. What y'all think?
I think the orcs should be more capable.
They didn't do much.
They
Yeah,
didn't
they
do much
didn't.
to stop her.
No,
that-
there were
that,
more
like,
fodder in the scene. to
Cool
just
stuff
be-
happened,
They looked
But-
nasty though. They
but-
looked real good.
but they didn't do.
they
They didn't
didn't
seemingly
do shit.
do anything. There's like how many of them, and not one of them could touch her.
yeah.
except for Adar.
The
except
makeup
for
was
yeah,
really
except for
good.
surprise Adar.
Is that better? He calls her a fun name too, just for a not Dune nugget, a nerd nugget. He calls her her like Quenya name when he greets her, and
I didn't even catch that.
starts with an A, and I can't remember.
Yeah.
It means like man-minded woman. I think it's the name that her father gave her in Valinor. But I'm not certain. It's an old name for her, though. He doesn't call her Galadriel. It says Galadriel in the subs, the English translation, but he uses one of her old names, I believe.
I am excited to see what happens once everyone gets to Aragian and they have it's going to be such a clusterfuck of just. It'll be fun to see.
It's going to be cool because it might be like a battle of five armies type situation because you got really three sides here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You've got the people that are seduced by Sauron, the Aragianites, right? That are, eventually they're gonna kick Sauron out, and then hopefully,
those following Celebrimbor.
Yeah, and then you got Adar's people,
Mm-hmm.
and then you got Sauron's people, right?
Sauron doesn't have any people.
Well, you got the
does.
elves too.
He has he should have people by now, but he.
So are you talking about the elves from Lindon, and then Adar's people, and then
whoever Sauron brings to the fight? I guess is he gonna
which is Celebrimbor's people
with Sauron?
Well,
who?
Yeah, I guess I don't know how this is gonna play out.
Why did the Barrow Wights come into play? We have to assume
That
they're
was
working
just-
for Sauron because they stopped the
They
scouts.
said
at
said
least.
that Sauron had done something to wake up those spirits.
right? Maybe,
Stupid.
Maybe
Which
they make their way to
Which is
Aragian.
stupid because
Stupid.
that
Well,
doesn't happen until
Doesn't Tolkien give Sauron, as Sauron gets more powerful, evil starts to awaken? Was that
Yeah.
that kind of what they were going
Yeah.
for?
I guess.
Well, and he just has to, at least we know lore-wise, he just has to exert some influence over orcs, and they just are programmed to listen to him.
I think they do it. Well, we could argue about that, but yes,
yeah.
in
Yeah.
essence, yeah.
just because I know this is like a little
The
late.
Galadriel thing.
The Galadriel.
Thank you for looking it up.
names for Galadriel are Artanis and
I think it's Artanis.
and
Is
then
the
there's
name.
Eletario.
Oh, no, it's that one. I'm pretty sure it's Eletario. It started with an A.
Eletario.
Yeah. What does that mean again?
Let's look it up.
But yeah, we'll keep talking for a second. Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah, please
Did
do.
she? I forget. Did she meet Adar in the first season?
No. Wait,
Yeah,
no,
she
she
did.
did.
She
She did. She
confronted him.
interrogated
Mhm.
him.
Yeah, she
That's-
interrogated him.
That's
Remember, he
right.
called her a monster for killing orcs the way that she does. Yeah,
Although maybe she didn't recognize him because he looks different now.
it's a different actor. Yeah, he does look a little different, but also the same.
Also, random note: I'm excited. The Dark Wizard is. I'm gonna butcher the name.
Oh yeah.
Do you want to say the name?
We figured out that this dude, we like this dude.
I didn't recognize him, but he's a great actor. Kieran Hines.
Kieran Hines, I think is how you say it. I don't know. Sorry, British people. I think he's British or Irish.
He's Irish.
He's Irish.
Well,
So-
now
Oh,
you,
sorry.
now you
I'm so-
really
I'm
pissed
so
him.
fucking sorry. Not the same thing. Not the same thing.
So Eletario is means maiden crowned with garland of radiance.
Cool. So it's a formal title that he gives her. He uses, right? If that's the one that unless I'm just totally making this up and it's a waste of time. But we learned a little bit about Galadriel, if I am. So
Can I point out one thing we sort of missed? Kind of, a little bit. What happens next with the whole Hobbit stuff?
yes.
When, Nori mentioned Sadok, I believe.
Oh yeah, we forgot
and his,
about
and
this.
his last name, and then that immediately triggered some stuff in the matriarch
Yeah,
ladies.
we learned
also
that-
matriarchy, by the way. That's how
Mhm.
hobbits are supposed to be back.
Dude, you know what I thought of?
Yeah.
Do you know? This is really funny. You're all gonna fucking think this is funny. Do you know, Joel? I'm gonna ask Joel in the form of a trivia question. Joel, what character's grandmother was a matriarch of the Stewards?
Wasn't it Pippin's? Whose grandmother was a matriarch of
Vales of the
Sil-
Anduin.
Oh, Gollum's.
Gollum's
Or I should
fucking
say
Oh.
Smeagol's.
Smeagol's fucking grandmother.
Are they gonna
was a
bring?
matriarch of
Are
the
they gonna bring
Stewards.
that in?
I have no idea. They definitely could if they wanted to, if they knew their lore.
Interesting. Yeah, they could. I thought
Maybe
it was
the
fun that
Grund
they
is Gollum's
connected.
grandma.
I thought it was fun that they connected Sadok as a steward. They were like Sadok
That
a
was cool.
steward. He came from our clan. Yada yada yada.
Yeah.
that was a fun.
That was a fun thing. I thought that was all. I was telling Joe when we were watching it together because I watched it by myself this morning and then again with Joe. And I was telling him that bit of lore I didn't mind that was made up. Like the fact that they're looking for this like promised land called the Suzat, right?
yeah.
Suzette apparently translates to Shire.
Really?
What language?
Apparently,
Do you remember?
I don't remember. I remember seeing it somewhere.
It was
Cool.
very bittersweet too when she was like, "Oh, are you here to take us?" And they're like, "No, we're still just wandering
We're
around."
still looking. Yeah.
So the name you were thinking of was Nerwin, which means man-minded.
Oh, Nerwin means man-minded. See, I didn't make that up. Man-minded. That's a real
Which
fucking
is
name.
an almost hilariously sexist name. But
Yeah, it was given to her by her father, right? Didn't Finarfin give that to her?
I'm not going to spend time looking it
I
up.
can't
but
remember,
it was
but yeah.
somebody gave
Lore,
it to her.
lore. It's all over, right?
So back to this Hobbit thing.
yeah,
Because you said you really kind of didn't mind this lore.
yeah.
I don't.
You hated it?
I don't like the idea of like Hobbit prophecy.
Hobbit.
That just seems like the hobbits don't seem like people that would have prophecies to me.
I agree with that.
Because I mean, they were wanderers, and then they settle in the Shire. Like that's what we
Mhm.
know. So
And that's sort of when their history started.
Let me ask
Right.
you a question though. Do they have writing yet?
they have apparently a giant book in the show. So
Right, they do. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say because if they didn't have writing, that would kind of make more sense. You know that they were so like.
Sadik had like the book.
the,
But,
you know,
like-
the book.
But
Like the only-
I mean,
But they
have,
could read it. They could
They
read.
have like a language that they write in.
Yeah,
right?
because
at least to learn
yeah, I
stuff.
think
as
they
far
could
as I
read
could
the
tell.
book.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, no, I agree with you then. Yeah.
It's
Because I was gonna say if they hadn't developed a writing system yet, then maybe. But they have a writing system, so I don't know.
Yeah, it just seems kind of weird to me. Like again, I don't really care for the whole Hobbit storyline anyway. The stranger stuff is getting, I guess, interesting. Like that, but that's
Sure.
the most interesting part about Rune.
We're in Dagobah now.
Yeah, we're in Desert Dagobah.
What's gonna be the X-wing that he lifts?
Oh yeah, was it
Oh, there's gonna be an X.
Is there gonna be a do?
Is the X-wing that
Do
he
not,
lifts
or
is
what
when
does he say? Do not, there is no try. Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah,
I hope
exactly.
he says something kind of like
something along those
that.
lines.
And then I think Disney should sue them if that happens.
And I'm also really excited to get back to the dwarves next
Me
next
too.
episode.
Hell
Hopefully,
yeah.
Show me some more. What the
Show
fuck
me
is
some more.
going on with the
And
dwarves
maybe-
and Eriador and the rings and
Yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, there's dwarven rings and stuff now. Yeah, like I want to see all that. Sync Numenor. Get rid of it.
sink it.
Sink it. You fucked it
Get
up.
it out of here.
Get it out of here. There's no going back. Yeah, just get rid of it.
Should
That's
we
what I said.
do? I think we made it through that episode, right? Should we do
Yeah.
some final thoughts on this?
Yeah, final thoughts. Didn't hate this episode. I liked it better than episode 3. But I was like super fucking tired when I watched episode 3 because it was like the third hour of a 3-hour
Right,
marathon.
right.
Right.
So it's hard to judge. But I didn't think it was awful. I thought there were some clever added things. Obviously the Dunedain stuff, I ripped up their Dunedain head card. They're done. You can't get into the clubhouse anymore. I'm sorry.
is there a way for them to redeem it?
Numenor? No.
if you make a spin-off series that does no, I'm serious,
So-
that does the fall of the Third Age and you don't fuck it up, or the fall of the Northern Kingdom and you don't fuck it up, yeah, I'll forgive you. You could get back into the clubhouse. You could sit in the veranda. You can't get into the back into the back room, but you know, I don't know, guys. I don't know what they're doing with their Dunedain shit.
This episode, once again, it was all right. It was pretty good. I think I liked it better than the last one. It had some fun bits to it, but it was a lot of fan service. I really liked the Ents, and I thought the Barrow-wights, while like an inappropriate time and inappropriate place to put them, I thought they were fun to see.
I mean, they look cool, and the fight was pretty cool. It was the straw that broke the camel's back for the Dunedain thing. Obviously, not a huge sin. It's a venial sin, right? If you're Catholic, you know what that means.
Bombadil, I thought was pretty good too. Bombadil was all right,
Yeah.
toned down quite a bit, but I wasn't upset.
Overall, I think this is the worst of the 4 episodes so far.
Shit, you're gonna shit on it.
Negative Nelly.
It, like you said, Joel, it's very fan servicey, and it doesn't feel like it feels like it's too much fan service.
Too much for you?
And it like to the point where it's like, oh well, we're just doing this to like check the boxes, right? Like here's
That's
a
kinda
couple
how I
of
felt too,
Ents,
yeah.
here's a Huorn, here's Tom Bombadil. It just like it feels like it's too much. And
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it's going anywhere. And they didn't put any of like the what I would consider the strongest storylines in this episode, which are the dwarves, like you've been saying this whole episode, and the Sauron stuff. Like even just like the regular elf stuff that's going on between Elrond and Galadriel, I'm kind of annoyed with. Yeah, I don't know. This episode, it needs to get better after this, or I'm just gonna be mad at a lot of the characters and what's going on.
Yeah,
It's just it's not as interesting. I'll leave it there.
Yeah, like I said, I think I kind of agree. I didn't hate it. There was some parts I really liked, but I do think it's been kind of going down a little bit since episode 1. Like I feel like the first 2 episodes were the strongest, and now it's kind of. So I'm hoping, but I think I have faith still. Once they get to Eregion and the Balrog wakes up, I think we'll be happier.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll see.
Maybe this maybe the 4th episode was just too much middle stuff happening, and once they connect those dots somewhere, I'll feel differently.
yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how they connect them.
That's the key. Yeah, and that's where the writing comes in, and not the strong suit of this show thus far. But we'll see. Hopefully they can pull it together. Again, we don't like hating anything, and we wish for good content. So we hope for the best, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. I think that's pretty much all we have to say about episode 4.
Episode 4.
Eldest. Yeah. So, yeah, make sure we're Keep On Tolkien. If this is the first thing you've ever heard from us, we're a podcast. Check us out wherever you get your podcasts. Yeah, rate, review. What, you guys got anything else to say?
No, that'll do it.
I'll do it. Well, I'm Danny J.
And I'm Joel N.
I'm Trevor D.
I'm Joe Vasky.
And together we are...
Keep
on
on
Tolkien.
Tolkien.
I'm going to do the Aura in Tulava, but I'm going to rip up your Tolkien head card, your Dunedain head card as I do it. Thank you, Joel. Yeah, mic me. Aure in Tulava. Bye, guys.